Hey everybody, it is Colin Nitro for Nitromaniac TV's wrestling channel, and joining me is a panel of experts to discuss AEW's inaugural pay-per-view, Double or Nothing, which took place on May 25th, 2019 from the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas. I almost said St. Louis, Missouri. No, it's Las Vegas, Nevada. St. Louis, Missouri will be home for Stanley Cup Games 3 and 4 next week. But anyway, joining me at the very end of the line there is
Moorhouse.
Mr. Moorhouse, rocking the Whalers.
Yes.
Having the fail whale.
Go Brass Bonanza, you know.
And of course we have a fellow making a return to the channel. He was in a vlog earlier on in the channel's history, but he is back.
Daniel,
a.k.a. HereComesMongo.
Mongo.
And, man, we sat down, we had ourselves a time watching the AEW pay-per-view from Las Vegas. We sat down and we watched the pre-show, which was called The Buy-In, which featured the 21-man over-the-top rope Casino Royale Battle Royal, won by Hangman Page, which will put him in line for an AEW World Title shot. Guys, thoughts on the Battle Royal first?
I thought it was an excellent display of some of the talent that they've agreed contracts to and signed recently. There was a few highlights. MJF had a great run there as a heel wrestler during the event. Jungle Boy, I thought, made a great impact.
Yeah.
There's that chubby guy you liked.
AC, yes, AC was great.
Yeah. AC Romero.
My favorite so far.
Yeah, that was good.
Janela had a wicked couple spots.
Oh,
he did
yeah.
too.
Oh, yeah.
It looked like he died in a couple spots there.
The table bump where he got eliminated, it looked like his neck kind of contracted into his body a bit. Janela kind of does that. I thought that Brian Pillman Jr. actually had a really good showing in there as well, and you'll be seeing more of him if you're a fan of the I guess the MLW brand of entertainment, as he's part of the Hart Foundation over there. It came down to Luchasaurus, I should say, and Hangman Adam Page. Hangman Adam Page eliminates Luchasaurus. We think that's all over with and done. Nope, in comes MJF. Tries to Pearl Harbor him over the top rope. And, man.
Didn't quite work.
Came right back, and it was sensational. I agree. I love the fact that you knew that Page was probably going to be in the world title picture somehow, some way. And I think they got their desired result, even with Pac not being part of this event at all. And, you know, spoiler alert, Pac indeed was not part of this event at all. No. We did not see him, so.
We don't know what's going to happen with that in the future.
As of right now, I don't really see a spot for him.
No, if he's going to act that way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rumors and speculations, and we don't deal in rumors and speculations.
No rumors and innuendo here.
Yeah.
Roll Tide that.
We had a singles match on the pre-show, which is a pretty rare commodity nowadays, is to see a singles match on a pre-show going into a pay-per-view. But Kip Sabian and Sammy Guevara going one-on-one. And that was a really awesome, kind of fast-paced, almost junior heavyweight style match between two really young up-and-coming superstars, with Kip Sabian getting the Duke to win.
Yeah, no, it was a good match. Myself, I wasn't that engaged with it just because I didn't know much about the wrestlers or characters. There was some cool spots and everything. I'd like to see what they do developing their characters, and that's the one thing that's going to be troublesome, I think, if you're viewing this event and you're not familiar with them, is you're going to have to build, like, who is this character when you're watching it.
Right, exactly.
I've never seen either of those guys before, but I really enjoyed the match. I thought it was one of the better matches on the card tonight. And I was really impressed with both of them, so I'd like to see more of them going forward with this company. For
sure. I think that they may fit in the old WCW second hour, let's blow up the second hour of cruiserweights type deal when they do the 2-hour show going forward. I thought it was fast-paced, it was hard-hitting, told a great story, and yeah, it was pretty good. And then the Elite comes out, kind of does a little bit of glad handing, as they are often to do, or oft to do, I should say. Kind of say, we started this is our party, make as much noise as you want. And then in the middle of it, it went to black, because it was pay-per-view time.
they ran out of time during their
free-for-all
promo.
Yeah.
That's right. And then our opening contest was SCU versus the Strong Hearts from Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Strong Hearts, actually, I should say, from OWE, from China.
Yes.
Lindemann Jr., Sema, and
T-Hawk.
T-Hawk. That's it. Yeah. Yes. Great 6-man tag action. Guys were working as a unit for sure. Reminded me of the old Dragon Gate tape trading days because a lot of those guys were on those old Dragon Gate tape trades that I did back in the day and that stuff. It was about a 20-minute long match, so a great opener.
Yeah, solid opener.
Mm-hmm.
All guys got their spots in. There was a lot of good tandem work by both teams. You got to really see the OVE style there from China.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see more of their style because these are more of the veteran wrestlers who can work the North American styles, but they also have a lot of wrestlers who do like Shaolin Monk style, which I'm very intrigued about.
These were the three individuals that initially went over to China, talking Sema, Lindemann, and T-Hawk, out of Dragon Gate to establish OWE a few years ago. So these were the three OGs, if you will, and then they came back. They're coming back over to kind of usher in this new wave of talent, as part of the AEW package. The big thing with me with these guys is going to be, all right, we know those guys can go. Now we got to see exactly how these young kids are going to go. So that they've trained over there. And by all accounts, it's pretty good, but we'll have to wait and see. So
Curiosity killed the cat.
Oh, absolutely. We'll have to wait and see for sure. Well, by the way, SCU got the Duke in that one, so that was a solid 20-minute
SCU?
opener. Yeah, solid 20-minute opener for sure. Got the crowd right into it. Women's match was next, right? Yes. Okay.
There was a big surprise.
Yeah, there was a big surprise in the women's match because initially it was supposed to be the women's freeway with Nyla Rose, Kylie Ray, and
Dr. Britt Baker.
DMD. That's right.
Mrs. Cole, baby.
That's Ms. Cole right now.
Ms. Cole, sorry.
They are not married. But yeah, so they're in the ring, and then all of a sudden, Brandy Rhodes comes out in full wrestling gear, and so you figure, oh, she's gonna get involved in this. But no, she brings in a surprise that makes the match truly awesome. The return of the former Karma to major pro wrestling in North America, Awesome Kong making her AEW debut.
She's a fantastic power worker. Rare form in women's wrestling. You don't have many power workers.
Right.
And I'm intrigued because I'd love to see her and Rose get into it, or Aja Kong get into it, because those are three giant powerhouse women that can just toss.
Oh.
And Awesome Kong can go. She doesn't look quite as good as she did before, but I still think she put on a pretty decent performance tonight.
Now, that was, yeah, I mean, like the last time we would have seen her, like I know the last time I probably would have seen her would have been on WWE TV back in the early 2010s, 2011s, yeah. And I mean, like, for you guys, probably, watching maybe some indie stuff. Maybe she shows up from time to time. Maybe even
I think she was
in
TNA after that.
She did an Impact stint, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Briefly, but she's most well known for the knockout division of Impact back in 07, 08, 09.
Oh yeah, she was her and Gail Kim were like
they were in the women's division.
They were the women's division back then. So yeah, to bring in a veteran worker like that, to bring in those type of matches, that's going to be incredible to see going forward. And yeah, it was a really wild. It added a different pace to it for sure. I'm trying to remember. Awesome Kong got the win right there, right?
No,
Britt Baker.
Dr.
Oh, Britt Baker, right? Yes.
It was a little bit of a messy finish. Didn't quite enjoy that, but
Yeah.
other than that, it was a pretty solid match.
The problem is Kellen can't say who won because he went chasing his cat during the match.
Cat was sick, so it's time to get the medicine. That's about it. So, well, the pizza showed up too,
The pizza showed up and the cat got sick.
and the cat. Well, no, the cat needed the medicine. It didn't get sick. Anyway, ergo, there we go. Too much information. But next match on the card was Best Friends. So we had Trent and Chucky T taking on Angelico and Jack Evans, and this was a kind of a dark horse match because it took a little while for it to simmer and burn, but it kind of shows you what the tag team division in AEW will be like. Kind of probably less ultra heavyweights and more junior heavyweight style workers doing their thing.
Yeah, no, it was good chemistry. I enjoyed the match. It's a solid pay-per-view match. There's nothing to complain about.
Yeah.
However, there was a weird finish.
Finish was a little weird.
It was a little strange, yeah. It kind of came off a little bit on camera, a little bit weird. Lead us with your thoughts here, Moorhouse. What do you think?
Well, as soon as the final pin was done,
Yeah.
we had the debut of two mysterious wrestlers.
Yeah.
With a group of 7 to 8 luchadors with generic masks.
Well, one of them, I think it was the Super Smash Brothers. I'm not entirely sure, because one of them had Uno on the back of his tights, so I assume that was player Uno. I can't remember who his tag partner was, if it was Max Boyer at that time in Ring of Honor, or if it was somebody else, because there was different variations of the Super Smash Brothers through the indie scene in the 2000s. But I know that indeed one of them was player Uno, and that was the larger of the two with the mask.
Yeah, like a football type luchador mask.
Exactly, yeah.
And I didn't feel bad not knowing who these guys were, because even the crowd was chanting, "Who are you?" So if they don't know and they're there, then I shouldn't know either.
Exactly. So, hey, throw up in the comments below if you know what lineup of Super Smash Brothers it is and that stuff. I know by the time that this video goes out, I would probably have had some review of it somehow on any of these social media and everything. But, yeah, the Super Smash Bros. Return to... I guess modern or North American major wrestling television, and they bring a army with them. So I'm not sure if this is like an invasion of some sort, if these are just people that are going to be doing
a one-off,
maybe, or if they're going after the Bucks, or if they're going after Penta and Phoenix. Who knows, right?
They're a new tag team on the scene.
Yeah.
And
they're a new faction on the scene, it looks like. They got a bunch of zombie little dudes running around.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the boys in with Dalton Castle.
Kind of, a little bit like that.
Exactly.
They got more physical than the boys did, but...
Joshi 6-woman tag with two teams that were captained. One team captained by Hikaru Shida, taking on another team that was captained by Aja Kong. What did you guys think of all the action from the Joshi imports of AEW?
I've seen similar matches when they've been in trials. Like I believe WCW had a trial run with them back in the 90s. WWE's had a couple runs with them, but I've never really had a full experience, and this kind of is my first full experience. I enjoyed it. These girls all put in a lot of character, a lot of stiff shots, a lot of finishers, just a lot of high risk, exciting wrestling. The pacing was a little too quick. Maybe the story wasn't told as well as it could have been. But I thought for an introduction, absolutely it's fine. Yeah.
It was decent. I have no complaints about it. It wasn't out of this world or anything, but it was what it was, and it was my first introduction as well to it. So.
Yeah. You know, it was pretty cool seeing Hikaru Shida finally get a chance on a major North American stage. I seen her back at Shimmer 62 way back in 2014 in New Orleans. Wrestle live, and the big thing with her is her skills with the foreign objects, the plunder, the kendo sticks, because she's, I think, like a black belt in kendoku or whatever the martial arts are with the kendo stick and everything, and I think that's also an Olympic discipline, and I think, but whatever edge it is, she is, or whatever discipline it is, I should say, she is like the highest ranking level of it in Japan, which means if she decided to turn professional in that could be major dollars, and she decided to turn into pro wrestling instead. And Aja Kong, legend in pro wrestling circles, we seen her back in the day take on Alundra Blaze in WWF circles back in '94, so, you know, good to see her out there and an active part of this division and everything. The women's division is stacked in AEW. It's going to be insane.
Yeah, they're top tier when it comes to the women talent there.
And the Cherry Bomb commentated on a match earlier in the card.
Right.
But I was sad that she didn't get to perform tonight, because I am a big fan of hers from her Impact days as Allie. So.
Then we had the Rhodes brothers go one-on-one with each other. We had Cody and Dustin go one-on-one. We got to see some color. We got to see Dustin busted open for most of it. Really old school kind of brawling. I think they were kind of going for like the Tully Blanchard Magnum TA type vibe there. You know, with just and going back and forth. Told a great story, I thought.
Yeah, I was very entertained. It reminded me a lot of Roddy Piper, Greg Valentine style dog collar matches, without the dog collar, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
Little bit of
Juice.
showboating there by Cody though to start the match. He was ripping on good old Hunter at the other corporation. Came down to a Triple H throne, stared at it, walked away, found a sledgehammer, threw the sledgehammer at the seats right before the match started.
And the top of the throne crumbled.
Yeah,
For some reason.
Not only did it crumble, it exploded.
It exploded, yes.
Exploded, yes.
Las Vegas, everybody.
But no, the match was bloody. It was great storytelling. Cody playing the heel, Dustin playing the babyface, veteran babyface. It was
Yeah.
good match. Finish was fine, and we're gonna see them work together now.
Right.
Yeah, it reminded me of an Eddie Guerrero Bradshaw match from '04 when Eddie busted himself open and he just bled everywhere, or when Bradshaw and Cena the next year faced off against each other and Bradshaw just bled everywhere. It was very bloody, almost hard to watch at times. It was a little bit too much blood for my liking nowadays, but I still really enjoyed the match and looking forward to them teaming up again for one final time, it looks like.
Yeah, it sounds like that they're going to team up and take on. Did they mention the Young Bucks in there? I think
They're
they did.
fighting the Jackson brothers.
Fighting the Jackson brothers, right? So whether that happens at Jacksonville or that happens at All In 2 or something, we'll see what happens.
They did announce where it was. It was in Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, that's what it is.
Fight
There
for
we
the
go.
Fallen, guys. Next pay-per-view.
They did a lot of build for that show on this show, which is good. So a lot of build for that show on this show. So, which is they got to do that until they get their show started in October.
Got to build feuds where you can.
That's right, exactly, and just try to build those matches. Build. So next was the world title presentation. Now this wasn't presented to one wrestler. This was just the announcement that, hey, AEW has a belt made. We're going to unveil it to you guys. And at Fight for the Fallen, Paige will take on the winner of Jericho Omega for the AEW World Heavyweight title, or AEW title. I don't think it was World Heavyweight title that they call it. I think they just called it the AEW title.
I don't think they came up with the full name yet.
Yeah.
It's a belt for the belt.
It looks like it wasn't rushed though on there like some other companies currently.
It is a Dave Milliken design. It is a mix between the nice. Do you think they work 24/7 on this belt?
I think they did. It's a hard-working belt. Anyone could win this title, apparently.
Oh man, and it does not look like it's been ripped off of the sign of any Waffle House or Denny's or anything like that.
No, for sure not.
My Stone Cold watch says it's time to keep going.
It's time to keep going, exactly. All right, well, to make the presentation was Bret Hart.
Surprisingly, Bret Hart.
Exactly.
No fanfare, just was announced.
He was in town to do the StarCast thing in Vegas and had a couple of great panels from what it sounds like over at StarCast, and some good things said and some not so good things said. Maybe we'll get into them a little bit later on in another video and that stuff off that. There's a couple things that Bret said in his panel with Tom McGee, talking about the infamous lost match that was found that I find are a little bit kind of lack of a better term, dickish from Bret Hart, but still good to see him come out, legend of the sport, awesome credibility. He talked about how 26 years earlier he defended the world title that he had at the time in Vegas. Of course, we all know WrestleMania 9.
Hogan saved him. Hogan defended his honor.
It was his friend. He told him, go get it, so I don't see what the problem is.
Arguably one of the worst WrestleManias of all time in Vegas. But, so that's all unveiling. They call Adam Page out because it sounds like that they were going to do an official match announcement saying that, hey, on the next pay-per-view coming up in July at Fight for the Fallen, Adam Page will be in the main event for the AEW title versus winner of Omega Jericho, whatever. And then out comes MJF, and MJF proves why he is, if he's not the top heel in AEW, he's 1B or 1C right now. And he's probably the best on the mic that they have, because I got vibes of Roddy Piper from that a little bit. From like the 80s, mid-80s era of Roddy Piper. He just ran down everybody, and he made himself more hated in 2 minutes than most people do in 2 hours.
No, he had a great heel promo. It was he's one of my favorite characters already emerging in this new organization. You also got to see a bit of the mid-card scene build up with Jungle Boy and Jimmy Havoc coming down to defend the Bret Hart's honor, because he was attacking Hart, he was attacking Page, attacking the fans, and then he got chased off by Havoc and Jungle Boy.
I thought MJF did a great job on the mic. In the Battle Royal, he had a couple of really good one-liners early on, and I just find he's got a lot of charisma, and he's a guy to watch out for.
And I think that the mid-cards, all those guys that came out, I think that they're going to be essential to the building blocks of this television program and what we see going forward. So it was good to see everybody kind of with a united front already they have the idea down, and to establish MJF as, maybe that upper mid-card heel, and that segment worked perfectly. So that's rare to say in 2019. A wrestling segment worked perfectly to build a character. That's refreshing, right?
It's a little different than what we're used to seeing lately.
Wild card rule.
No comment.
No comment.
No comment. No comment whatsoever. Oh, man. AAA World Tag Team titles on the line. Young Bucks, the champions, taking on Lucha Brothers, Penta, and Rey Fenix. Man, that was match of the night. That might be a short list for match of the year candidate at the end of the year, depending on what happens. But I really love the pace in that. I love the crowd energy. And the Bucks, for being off for the time they had, I think they've come in fresh. They're finally healthy, so they can go out there and work again like they had in the past.
They got booed a little bit at the beginning, which was very surprising, because I can't remember the last time the Bucks were ever booed.
The crowd was very pro Penta and Phoenix, I found. If you had gone to the card, if you were there in person, or if you watched the card on pay-per-view, please comment below on that thought, because I'd love to hear your comments on that. But I think that Penta and Ray were more over as babyfaces in that match than, if you wanted to have a babyface match with the Young Bucks. I think the Young Bucks were the heels there.
Absolutely. Yeah, they came in. The Lucha Brothers were way over compared to the Young Bucks for this match, but that didn't matter. Both teams were over. Both teams were baby faces, and it's always hard to have a babyface match, but they pulled it off. So many spots, high risk of injury, high pace, high speed. 20 minutes, just fast forward, insane. That's all I can say. It was a fantastic match. I can see it easily competing for the match of the year with an Omega Okada match type situation.
Scenario, yeah.
Yeah.
You can see that the Lucha Bros are two of the best in the world right now. Ray himself, he's the best on the ropes. No one can compare. He's like a current day Rey Mysterio. He can do things that no one else can. And
it's like watching Rey Mysterio about 20 years ago with him.
It really is.
I would say.
He's got that. He's just got that special something where he can do things that no one else can do. And Pentagon is just bravo to him. Bravo to him.
Penta to me is like watching Kevin Steen about 10 years ago. Almost.
Penta has, I think, ability to become a world champion sometime.
For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, he has held the belt before. He's held a world championship belt in Impact before, and to a lot of critical acclaim and that stuff. It was a pleasant surprise when he won that belt. And he held it for a little bit of time there in Impact.
A month or two,
it was really good. Yeah. It was awesome for them to have that.
But I'm looking forward to seeing Penta Omega matches again.
Oh, yeah.
Penta Cody matches.
Yeah.
I think Penta, like, they're a tag team right now, but I also think they'll both be successful as single wrestlers easily.
For sure. And of course, we had our main event at the end. The second half, I guess, if you want to call it, of the AEW title mini tournament. Jericho Omega 2, Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega. This one a very different match compared to their first one in New Japan a couple of years ago at Wrestle Kingdom. It was, to me, not as out of control. It kind of was a little bit more structured. There were out of control moments in it, of course. Something about the tables they were using.
The tables were weird. They broke kind of funny. They
looked like school desks.
They looked different than the tables that we're used to and conditioned to see as wrestling fans nowadays.
Yeah. They're like, if you haven't seen a pay-per-view, I'll try to put theater of mind together for you. They were kind of like gray work desks with full metal stuff underneath it, almost.
Do you think Sabu would have an easier time with them?
No. I think Sabu would have a harder time with them, honestly.
I think he'd still be the table.
He still would be the table?
Yeah, but I agree with your point, Kellen. It's the match was much more structured. It felt like a wrestling match. You could tell that Jericho coming into this one is in a different shape than he was last year.
Way better shape.
Yes.
Way better shape.
Yes, and I think that bodes well, to the fact that, hey, next week he's got Kazuchika Okada for the IWGP World Heavyweight title.
Dominion next week already?
I think so, June 7th?
Oh, 2 weeks away.
Two weeks away.
Yeah.
2 weeks
So
away.
he could be a double champion by the end of June. So
July, yeah.
So that's
into July, yeah.
7 weeks. He could be 2 titles. That's something else.
That could be an actual very likely scenario that could happen. In 2019, we could see a double champion Chris Jericho with both the AEW and IWGP belts, because Jericho beat Omega, ran down the crowd after, and pretty much said that, hey, this is his company. The lights, or not even the lights, didn't even go out here. The lights stayed on. There was a roar in the crowd. We look up.
It's Scott Hall.
No.
He's like, you don't know why I'm here.
Minus Shield music, because he left that creative crap back at the other company. It's John Moxley, the former Dean Ambrose, walking through the crowd and on his way to an AEW ring to confront Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega, the founder.
And the referee.
And the referee.
Oh, the referee got maybe the worst of it.
I don't know. I thought Omega got the worst of it.
Omega probably got the
Because
worst.
he got Dirty Deeds up on top of the...
A poker chip on
on
top
the chip.
of a poker chip.
A stack of poker chips.
On the stack of chips. And, Moxley went all in.
For context, it was actually a stage set of chips, not actually just a little pile of poker
That's right.
chips. Even though I would laugh, it was just a really little tiny pile of poker chips.
So the rumors were true. Moxley shows up in AEW. Your guys' thoughts?
He was unhappy with creative in WWE, and he sought employment with someone that would make him happy with creative.
I'm glad to see him there. I think he's going to thrive there. I think he's going to be a main eventer. It looks like him and Omega are set up for a feud, and that is a match that I am very, very intrigued by.
Yes, very much so. Because you got a guy that was potentially one of the top 5 in the world about 2 or 3 years ago in Moxley, versus a guy who is perennially in the top 5 in the world, if not number 1 in the world, with Omega. So let them fly. AEW's upper card, as people are kind of arguing online leading into this event that, okay, their mid card and their lower card it seems a little weak. It's not weak. It's just people we haven't seen before.
You got to build characters, and how do you build characters? Well, I think they have a TV deal starting up here in October. Yeah, so
the best TV deal anybody's got for wrestling ever.
Yeah, WWE included.
Ever. I'd hazard to say ever, with the revenue sharing and everything.
They have revenue sharing. They have, they're getting publicity already from NBA on TNT.
That's true.
Last night, or the last Raptor game, they got plugged, which I don't think WWE gets plugged if USA or NBC hosts.
When's the last time you've seen a monthly wrestling pay-per-view advertised during the NBA championships on a major U.S. network?
I don't even see it during the Westminster Dog Show. So...
Right?
I do have one thing to say, though.
Okay.
Is that I'm looking more forward to this Moxley-Omega feud than I am to the Jericho and Page match that will be upcoming.
Right.
Like, I'm still excited for that match. I just is not as excited, I find, myself right now.
Yeah.
I find that that's the hotter feud and doesn't even have the title.
Yeah, you kind of see it as a foregone conclusion that Jericho will probably walk out of that match with the belt.
That's what I believe.
Okay.
I think it'll be a smallish.
A schmodge.
Nobody's going to win the belt.
So,
Nobody.
wow. You'd probably love to see
Glacier.
nobody have the belt. Well, no, you'd probably love to see a vacant belt for the first year of the company's existence.
I'd say the first few months until you get on TV.
Maybe they get that match thrown out and it becomes AC versus Glacier for the title. You know, they were both in the Battle Royal. Why not bump them up a bit?
You can do anything. It's a new company.
Yeah.
The guy with no legs can be your next world champion.
Hey, he did very well in the Battle Royal.
He did better than I thought he would. It took him a while to get going.
He
but
took
once
Sean
did-
Spears out, so
Yeah.
hey, there you go. The Perfect 10 got eliminated by him, so hey,
Well, he's used to that.
it's an awesome deal. So, all right. Speaking of a Perfect 10, it's time to give the rating of the show out of 10, and of course, the way we do it here is take into account not only match quality and that stuff, but taking into account production, taking into account watchability of the program. Would you watch this pay-per-view again? And all the factors that you would back in the day watching something that you rented from whatever
Blockbuster.
from Blockbuster, and
What's a blockbuster?
the first time you see WrestleMania 7 or something like that, and whatever.
Sure. I will give it a solid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Okay.
Pretty good.
The negatives for me, again, a lot of the wrestlers that we don't know their characters yet, so they're coming in kind of blind, so you're just being thrown a lot of people,
Right.
but you don't have a lot of feelings to. The other negative, there seemed to be a little bit of camera production issues and commentary issues. I think Jim Ross was a little bit, he wasn't clean yet,
Yeah.
and I can't remember the middle co-anchor, he was
Alex
not great.
Marvez.
Yeah, he was not great. Excalibur, though, saved it. I think he was on fire
He was the
tonight.
best
Yeah.
one tonight.
Yeah. So for those factors, and yes, I would rewatch it. So I'd give it a solid 8.
Cool.
I would rewatch it, but I would only give it about a 7.
Mm-hmm.
The camera angles reminded me too much of Kevin Dunn in the WWE.
They did switch a lot. Yeah.
They kept cutting away, and they missed some key spots very early on.
Yeah, it's evident in the Best Friends and Angelico Jack Evans match, and also the women's 4 way, that it is kind of vomit-inducing at sometimes. The changes in the cameras.
I found it really troublesome during the women match, especially the 4-way.
There was a spot where Rose went to spear Kong into the steps, and they just did not film that correctly at all.
You saw Kong fall.
You saw Kong fall, basically.
And it's like, who knocked her over? Oh yeah, it's Nyla, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
So between that, there was a couple of botches, which are always forgiven, but there just seemed to be a bit more on this stage, whether people were nervous because it was their first pay-per-view or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the commentary, I love Jim Ross, but for me, I think it's time for him to go because he's just, I think he's just a little past his time now.
Is he worn out?
He's a little worn out.
Okay.
He can't quite
would
keep
you?
up. He just can't seem to keep up anymore, and it's a shame to say that because I love his stuff, but it's been 30, 40 years now for him, so.
So I'm going to give the show a 8 out of 10 as well. My concerns are not so much the wrestling storylines and that stuff. I think they have some strong storylines coming out of it tonight. I think it's going to be awesome to see, obviously, the Moxley Omega thing. I think it's going to be awesome to see Jericho and Paige for the title. I think it's going to be great to see the Rhodes brothers reunite one last time to take on the Young Bucks.
MJF and Jimmy Havoc.
MJF and potentially Jimmy Havoc in that role, or MJF versus
Jungle Boy. Yeah.
Jungle Boy, if whatever that will be, if that's going to be like a 3-on-1, or if there's maybe even a signing that MJF brings in, maybe like a big guy to be his bodyguard or something like that. Shawn Michaels and Diesel.
A
maybe.
big heavy for him.
Oh, maybe, yeah, maybe.
Stu Bennett's not doing anything.
Well, neither is Killer Cross now with formerly of Impact.
He
right?
hasn't been released yet,
So-
but that could be a name to look out for.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, stay tuned in the coming weeks for that. Production-wise, yes, they have to get the camera angles figured out. Yes, they have to get the production. All that takes time and practice once they get going. By the time they get on TV, this will be smooth. This will be great. Get rid of Marvez. I was talking with a broadcasting friend of mine tonight on Instagram. Marvez does not know what the hell he's doing out there. He is lost. Get rid of him. Get somebody else in there that's has a little bit of cachet and that knows what they're doing in amongst the industry and that stuff. I know you could probably talk to Excalibur, guys he's worked with in the past. Maybe it's time for Marty DeRosa to get in there. Maybe it's time for, perhaps a talent poach of some sort from WWE or Impact or something like that.
There's so many options.
Just don't bring in Josh Matthews, whatever you do, because I can't handle a best the Black Hole Slam.
So you'd want Booker T, you're saying?
No.
Okay.
Rubber Ducky.
Shucky Ducky, quack, quack. No,
Quack, quack.
no. I just Marvez to me didn't impress me at all. If they do stick with him, he needs work desperately, and he needs to speak up a little bit. I think they're trying to make him kind of the Mike Tenay of the broadcast. The problem is that Mike Tenay is doing nothing right now.
Why don't they just hire Mike Tenay?
Bring in Mike Tenay.
Is he a little too old though now too? Is it past him by?
Is he for
It'd
second?
be interesting to see.
For a second or third option, I think it's fine.
The problem, see, when you go weekly on TV, I could see that would be no problem. The thing is that you're not going to be on weekly TV till October. You're only doing one pay-per-view every 2 months now at this rate.
Yeah.
Bring in Mike Tenay. It's
And
not going to
Don
hurt
West.
you. I mean,
Don West, he's got a deal for you. He's
yeah.
got a crazy deal.
They're already friends with Conrad. They can get Tony Schiavone tomorrow.
He's an MLW though.
WHW Monday on AEW Tuesday. This is the greatest night in the history of our sport. That's my best Tony and Schiavone impression. So, but anyways, yeah, I think that the consensus is we're definitely paying attention to AEW. We'll definitely check out their next shows that they've got, and this was a great launch, refreshing. It seems like there's a bit of breath of fresh air coming into the wrestling world, and these people are bringing it, and it was awesome to see. And it was cool to see them sell out a 10,000 seat building once again for a show. Good for them. Right on. Cool. Keep on keeping on. We'll see what happens.
Off to Jacksonville.
That's right. Off
There
to
we
fight.
go.
Fight for the Fallen is July 13th, I believe. They said Saturday,
Yep.
July 13th.
Yep.
That will be through all the pay-per-view sources and everything that you watch Double or Nothing on through whatever source you use. There, that's as diplomatic as I can get. So, anyways, follow Moorhouse on Twitter at.
House some more.
Follow Dan on Twitter at.
Random Fella 2.
That's right. And you can follow me on Twitter at Kellen Nitro. And we'll see you guys next time. Later days, happy wrestling watching. And see ya. Put your comments below what you thought of Double or Nothing. Are you doubling down or are you cashing out? Who knows?